I used to think I'd never see her again. Her name was Sarai Vaughn, daughter of the Kalan High Regent, one of the most powerful alien houses in the Androsian sector. She wasn't supposed to fall in love with a human soldier, but she did. And I wasn't supposed to marry her, but I did. Back then, the universe was smaller, or maybe my world was. We met on Virex Outpost, a human colony caught between two empires. She was part of a diplomatic mission, tall and luminous, her silver blue skin glimmering under the artificial lights. The Kalan looked almost human, except for their glowing eyes and the faint bioluminescent veins that pulsed along their necks when they felt strong emotion. She said those lights flared brightest when she was near me. I believed her. We lived together for 3 years on the Outer Rim, pretending love could survive politics and bloodlines. When war broke out between the Kalan Dominion and the Terran Republic, we promised to stay neutral. But neutrality is a myth in war. The day the Dominion recalled her, she cried in my arms, whispering that she'd come back once the war was done. I kissed her forehead and told her I'd wait. I waited 6 years. Then the war ended. Humanity signed a fragile truce. And Sarai never returned. Until today. The first warning came in the form of light. Dozens of crimson streaks ripped across Earth's upper atmosphere, slicing through the sky like knives made of blood and flame. Orbital defense picked up hundreds of Kalan warships entering the Sol system. And at their center, a ship I knew too well, the Vorith Ascendant. It was the same vessel Sarai once commanded as a peace envoy. Now, its signature screamed war. I was no longer a soldier. I'd retired after the Treaty of Halion, choosing isolation over politics. I lived on the coast, repairing drones and boats for the colonies. The ocean was my peace. When the alarms went off and the sirens began to wail, I knew what it meant before the newscast did. I looked up at the red sky and whispered her name. Sarai? Middle, the invasion and the message. The invasion began with precision. No chaos, no wild bombardments. The Kalan didn't destroy cities. They disabled them. Their ships released electromagnetic bursts that crippled human defense grids, leaving power dead and skies burning red. It wasn't annihilation. It was control. Within hours, the Dominion occupied orbital command. Earth's fleet surrendered after losing half its carriers. The invasion was over before it began. But there was something else, something off. The Kalan weren't killing. They were taking control with almost surgical precision. It felt like someone's plan, someone I once knew. 3 days later, a transmission came through. The entire planet saw it. Sarai's face appeared on every holoscreen. Her voice was calm, regal, commanding. People of Earth, I am Commander Sarai Vaughn of the Kalan Dominion. The peace treaty you forged with my father's council has been broken by your covert militarization in Androsian space. We are here not to destroy, but to ensure peace through occupation. Comply and no lives will be lost. I sat frozen in my small workshop, staring at her image. Her eyes, those same bright eyes I used to fall asleep beside, were colder now. But beneath the stoic expression, I saw something flicker. Regret? Pain? No one else would have noticed. But I did. That night, I made a decision. I broke into the old Terran Command database, using access codes I should have deleted years ago. I found her flagship's coordinates and sent a simple message. Sarai, it's me. If you can still hear me, we need to talk. I didn't expect an answer. But at dawn, one came. Docking beacon active. Sector Theta, 9. Come alone. Middle part 2. The ghost of a marriage. I took a shuttle through the blockade using a smuggler's stealth drive. It was suicide. Any normal pilot would have been vaporized. But somehow, the Kalan fleet let me through. Maybe because she told them to. The Vorth Ascendant was larger than I remembered, a cathedral of dark metal and blue light, orbiting Earth like a god's judgment. When I landed, 2 Kalan guards escorted me through long corridors lined with organic metal. The air hummed faintly. The ship was alive, its systems breathing like lungs. And then I saw her. Sarai stood in the command chamber, her uniform glinting with gold insignia. The faint glow under her skin illuminated her cheekbones. Time hadn't touched her beauty, but it had sharpened her presence. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. "You shouldn't have come," she said finally. "You sent the coordinates," I replied. "That was a mistake." "I don't think it was." Her lips parted slightly, then closed again. "You always were stubborn. And you always lied beautifully." Something flickered in her eyes again. "I didn't lie about us, Rian." "Then why the invasion?" She looked away, staring out at Earth's blue surface beyond the viewport. "Because peace cannot survive on human promises. Your leaders broke the armistice. My father sent me to enforce it. You're enforcing it with warships." Her tone stayed steady. "Occupation prevents extinction. You think I want this?" I stepped closer. "I think you want to believe you had no choice. But you do. You always did." Her voice dropped. "You don't understand the Dominion. Defiance means death, not just for me, but for the entire fleet under my command. If I disobey, my people die." I stared at her, realization dawning. "You're not leading this invasion, you're protecting them." She didn't answer, but her silence confirmed it. We stood inches apart, 6 years of pain between us. I wanted to touch her, to reach through that barrier and bring her back from whatever darkness she'd been buried under. "I never stopped waiting," I said quietly. "Not for a day." Sarai closed her eyes. "You shouldn't have." "I promised." Her voice trembled. "And I promised I'd return. I just didn't say what I'd have to become first." For a moment, the commander's mask cracked. I saw the woman I'd loved. Not the Kalan general, not the enemy. Just Sarai. Then the ship's alarm blared. A Kalan officer rushed in, speaking rapidly in her native tongue. Sarai's expression turned grim. "The Terrans just launched a counterattack," she said. "They've fired plasma torpedoes at our orbital command relay." "Then call them off," I said. "I can't." "Yes, you can." Her gaze hardened. "If I disobey the Dominion now, they'll wipe us both out. I'm not risking billions of Kalan lives for a memory." "Then what was I, Sarai?" I whispered. "Just a memory?" She looked at me, her eyes wet with light. "No. You are the only thing that ever made me human." Climax, the choice that changed everything. The Kalan fleet began to descend through Earth's atmosphere. Defensive systems ignited, orbital lasers, interceptors, missiles. The sky turned into fire. Sarai stood at the command interface, issuing orders in a voice that trembled between strength and sorrow. I could see it in her, the conflict tearing her apart. Every command she gave brought her closer to the destruction she swore she never wanted. Then I noticed something on the tactical display. The Dominion's core directive, an automated failsafe that would launch extermination strikes if Sarai's fleet took too long to subdue Earth. She didn't control this invasion anymore. The Dominion did. "Sarai," I said urgently, pointing at the screen. "They're using you. This invasion isn't about peace. It's about wiping us out without dirtying their hands." Her hands froze over the interface. "No, that can't. It's set to trigger in 12 minutes. She turned toward me, horror dawning. "I can't override the core directive without a full command code sequence. Only the High Regent has that authority." I stepped forward. "Then you'll have to destroy the core itself." "That would mean firing on my own fleet," she said, voice breaking. Thousands of Kaelin will die, and billions of humans will if you don't. Her eyes glowed brighter, trembling with emotion. Rian, don't ask me to choose between my people and yours. I'm not asking, I said. I'm begging. Silence. Then, slowly, she turned to the controls. Her trembling fingers hovered over the sequence. If I do this, there's no going back. I reached for her hand. Then let's go forward. She looked at me one last time and smiled through her tears. You never did know when to give up. Maybe that's what makes us human. Her hands flew over the console. The ship roared. The Vorith Ascendant turned its cannons inward, firing into the Dominion's command relay. The explosion lit up the orbit like a newborn star. The fleet scattered in chaos. The invasion collapsed. The shockwave hit us hard. Consoles sparked, gravity failed, alarms screamed. The deck tilted, and she fell against me. Sarai? I shouted, grabbing her as debris fell around us. I'm here, she whispered, bleeding light from a wound along her side. You saved us. She smiled weakly. No. We did. Ending, the sky after the fire. When I woke, Earth's atmosphere was calm again. The Kaelin fleet had withdrawn, retreating to the outer rim. The Vorith Ascendant was gone. Rescue drones found me floating in debris orbit, half-conscious, clinging to a fragment of her ship. No body. No trace. Just a small metallic pendant she'd worn, a silver ring engraved with two symbols, a Kaelin crescent and a Terran star intertwined. I wear it still. Months later, peace talks resumed. Both sides called it the Sarai Accord. No one dared name her as the reason why, but I knew. Sometimes, at night, I stand by the ocean and look up. The stars shimmer faintly blue, like the glow under her skin. And I imagine her voice whispering through the static of the cosmos. You never did stop waiting, did you? And I whisper back, never. Because love, I've learned, doesn't end with silence. It simply waits for the stars to speak again.